Hello, this is Albert Jones, and today I'm interviewing Marc Preston from Vertus Development Management. And we've got in contact through the UK Construction Professionals Network on LinkedIn, and we're doing a series of interviews on services for the construction industry, and today we're focusing on disputes resolution services. So, Marc, I'd like to thank you for taking the time for this interview, and if you could just give us a brief introduction of yourself and your experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Albert. My name is Marc Preston. I'm Managing Director of Vertus Development Management. We're a firm of quantity surveyors and project managers. We provide a range of services to all users within the industry, so that's developers, main contractors, and subcontractors, based on many years' experience on some very large projects and some highly complex projects, as well as a number of niche, smaller size developments.
Great, that's really helpful. So, to get straight in, Marc, so I understand that you provide a full range of quantity surveying and project management services, but why are you often the first point of call for people embroiled in disputes?
People have gotten used to our very professional and thorough approach when providing other services. So it's a natural first point of call to those customers who feel that they need some extra support in dealing with disputes that unfortunately do from time to time arise in the construction and development industry.
And we know there's a sad inevitability about disputes. So one of the things that we're really interested to know is what separates you from other providers who offer dispute resolution services?
We take a different stance and try and discourage the proliferation of an adversarial approach. So we are very respectful of both our own clients, but also the people with whom they're in dispute with. We're non-judgmental, and we take the time to listen to both sides of the story and work with both parties where we can to build upon common ground rather than just focus on the differences.
Right, I see. And what are the most common disputes that you encounter? And we know that disputes come in different shapes and sizes, but which are the most common ones that you encounter?
Well, the three most common areas for disputes revolve around the late release of information, variations or changes in the scope of the work, and also differences of opinions arising out of specific items in the bills of quantities or shown on the contract drawings.
Okay. And how do you have a common strategy to address these disputes? How do you address them specifically?
We're very thorough in our approach, and we take the necessary time to read the files and look at the history leading up to the dispute. We do focus not only on our client's position, but also on the position of the person with whom the dispute has been incurred. Because there's nothing worse for our own clients to go a long way down the disputes process, have spent quite a lot of time and emotional energy to discover that what the other side is saying, for want of a better expression, is correct. So we do really focus hard on the totality of the position rather than just one particular aspect of it.
Right. And I'd like to pick you up on what you said there about the emotional aspect. I mean, from our experience, it's very clear that when there's emotional intensity, that can often cloud the issues with disputes. So what happens if you get to a stage with a client where there isn't an amicable resolution which is obvious and that there's a need to go down the adjudication route? How do you support clients in that instance?
Yeah, you're quite right in saying that emotion does creep into a lot of disputes, and it is a barrier preventing their early resolution. And we do try and protect our clients by giving an independent and professional view on the relative merits of their dispute. And if through mediation, through negotiation, and through a technical approach we can't reach a settlement. And so from time to time, matters do have to be referred to adjudication. When this happens, we make sure that our client is well prepared, that the referral notices are very thorough and clear, and they're written in a plain form that takes the adjudicator receiving a referral from point A right through to point Z in a very clear and concise and logical format, so that it's very easy for them, we hope, decisions that are being asked of them.
Right. So are you saying that by making it more convenient for the adjudicator to go through the material, that has a favourable impact for your clients? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, indeed, Albert. It is very true, and it is the case that adjudicators who may never meet the parties involved in the dispute, may never visit the sites or see the situation subject to the dispute, do need to be guided in a very clear and concise way in order to reach the conclusions that we want them to reach. So it is a matter of style and clarity as much as it is technical correctness.
Right, I see. And so what happens? Let's say you're in hopefully you're in the situation where you have a successful adjudication on behalf of those you're representing. After there's a settlement, for example, which has been awarded, do you then wash your hands of the clients? What happens then?
Absolutely not. I mean, the adjudication process and the whole of the events leading up to a dispute usually throws up some weakness within the referring parties' commercial systems and controls. And we work very closely with our clients to strengthen these systems and controls, with the aim of avoiding a similar situation occurring in the future.
Right. And for many businesses involved in construction, the £64 million question is, what advice would you give to try and avoid disputes so that people aren't dealing with the fallout of disputes? Are there things upstream that you would recommend that people should be doing?
Yes. From the outset, it's very, very important that people understand what their obligations are, to thoroughly assess the risk and make sure that they only accept risk that they're capable of managing. And one of the old adages said to me when I first joined the industry many years ago is a simple technique, and it's records.
Right.
And if you have the record, a thorough approach, and we're prepared to put the notices in at the correct time. And when I say put notices in, I don't mean take an adversarial litigious approach, but to take responsibility for advising partners in a collaborative way, that if not resolved at the point that they have occurred, stands a reasonable chance of proliferating into a dispute.
I see. And it is a cliche, but I'm sure we can add disputes to the list of inevitable things in life alongside with taxes and death without sounding overly pessimistic, Mark. So over your 30 years of experience or so, what have you learnt about disputes and dispute resolutions? Which things stand out for you overall?
Firstly, and overriding, I would say that over 90% of disputes can be avoided. If the events leading up to disputes are recognised early enough and action is taken to deal with them at the appropriate stage, they just don't grow into disputes. And I always advocate strong commercial systems and controls, keeping a close eye on what is happening, the use of project business plans to be able to determine what the objectives are, and then be able to determine any deviance from those objectives at the earliest possible time.
Right.
And if you have these tools in place, more often than not, problems can be nipped in the bud and disputes avoided.
I see. So if a business is currently experiencing a dispute and all of the issues and problems that arise through that, how could they contact you and your business to access your services? Well, how can that happen?
Well, they can contact us in a variety of ways. They can contact us through our main website, www.vertisdevelopmentmanagement.co.uk, or if they want a speedy and quick answer to an easy problem, they can approach us online at www.vertisqsonline.co.uk. We have a unique mobile phone app which can be downloaded to iPhones or Android phones. Contact us for that. Email Marc, M-A-R-C, at vertis-dm.co.uk, or the old-fashioned telephone, 0208 989 1010.
Great. Okay. I'd like to thank you again for your time. This has been a really useful part of our series of interviews on services for the construction industry. There will be other interviews as part of the series, but Marc Preston, I'd like to thank you again for taking the time to be interviewed, and I hope that this interview is of help to our fellow professionals. Thank you.
Albert, thank you very much. It was great to talk to you.
Good to speak to you. Thanks. Goodbye.